Hey guys, ABI here with a bit of a sudden A.B.I.torial. Over the weekend, I got to get my hands on both the Battleborn and the Overwatch open betas for PC. I honestly don't play a lot of shooters except for Borderlands, so my excitement for these two games comes as a surprise, even to me. Given the similar aesthetics and gameplay elements, there's been a lot of friction between the two titles, some going as far as to say that they're directly competing. As someone looking forward to both titles, I'll give you my first impressions look at Battleborn and Overwatch to help you compare and contrast. The first and most obvious point of comparison is the strikingly similar art design. Both games sport a sleek, cartoony aesthetic in a futuristic sci-fi setting, but there is a distinct difference in flavoring between the two, especially if you look at the marketing taglines. Overwatch is about being a hero. Battleborn is about being a badass. The two games also take two different approaches to character design. Overwatch is set in a futuristic vision of real-world Earth, so its heroes and villains are represented through various cultures and archetypes already familiar to us and given a sleek sci-fi hero treatment. Battleborn is set in an intergalactic sci-fi universe far beyond Earth, so there's freedom to design whatever zany alien creature or culture comes to mind. Overwatch is about a former team of specialized heroes from different walks of life, so each hero has a very strong distinction about them. Time-bending speedsters, hyper-intelligent gorillas, cyborg ninjas, pop-star mecha pilots, you name it. Battleborn is about different galactic factions setting aside their differences to fight against a common threat, so this model is designed to use several characters at once who represent a different part of the galaxy. A federation of space marines, a cabal of nature-protecting druids, an aristocratic corporate conglomerate, a crew of space delinquents, etc. Overwatch features 21 unique heroes and villains with unique identities and abilities, versus Battleborn's 25 heroes divided amongst their 5 factions. I like both of them, but I feel Battleborn has a few design redundancies. Melka and Reyna are both dark-skinned ladies with faux hawks, pistol-sized weapons, and sweet gauntlets, and Whiskey Tango literally looks like a bizarre version of Oscar Mikey. Really? Did this game actually need 2 generic COD bros? That's like having 2 different Soldier 76s. Actually, now that I'm looking at them all at once, can we just remove all 3 of them from their respective games? I'm just a personal fan of lopsided hero balance because it facilitates the necessity of team play by having deliberate weaknesses that must be covered. So designing a well-rounded character with no real strengths or weaknesses is just boring to me. Sorry, Ryu fans. Graphically, they are both impressive. Overwatch's characters and environments have a saturated Pixar-esque quality, while Battleborn borrows from Borderlands' signature comic book stylings and trades out the bold outlines and gritty cross-hatching for a sleek, painted look. I think my computer struggled to maintain 60 frames per second while playing online with Battleborn, although the single-player game plays just fine. Overwatch runs at a consistent, smooth 60 FPS even while recording. I think I can chalk it up to Blizzard's expertise in optimizing their games for low-end computers, having years of experience optimizing World of Warcraft to be able to run on a toaster. Overwatch also has tighter visual balance for its special effects when compared to Battleborn. In Overwatch, 3 ultimates can fire off at once and I can get a general idea of who did what. But in Battleborn, there's particles, explosions, and numbers popping off and flying all over the place and it gets difficult to tell what's going on. Consider also that in Battleborn there's minions and turrets on top of a 5v5 fight, which probably explains the framerate drop I was talking about earlier. Now here comes the widest divide between the two games, and also the reason why I personally don't think they should be considered competing against one another. Overwatch is a team-based shooter through and through. People will say it has MOBA elements, but all that really means is that instead of basing hero loadouts on sets of weapons and equipment, they are instead given powers with cooldowns and an ultimate ability. The 3 game modes are all based on direct player confrontation rather than static objectives like towers and lanes. What makes the game seem like a MOBA is the importance of team play and the power of ultimate abilities that permit a team to make powerful plays, much like a medic in Team Fortress 2 coordinating an uber push. A coordinated team can break through defensive choke points, isolate and eliminate key targets, sweep up an undefended backline, or force an enemy away from an objective. Battleborn, on the other hand, is an actual MOBA. There's lanes, there's minions, and there's turrets, but it's not exactly Summoner's Rift. The main game mode, Incursion, designs its map more like a shooter map, but with the objective of a MOBA. There's only one lane that minions travel on going both ways, and there are platforms for players to spend their gold to install and upgrade towers. And there's even hidden pockets of jungle with mercenaries that players can defeat to enlist them into their minion army. But the main map around the single lane is littered with back alleys and alternate routes that allow players to sneak around the main battle stage and make surprise plays and insane getaways, much like a shooter. It reminds me more of a payload game than a Summoner's Rift game. Battleborn also borrows the steady leveling up power curve of a MOBA, where characters gain EXP and levels and become stronger as the game goes on. However, Battleborn takes a simpler approach to in-game character advancement in terms of skill power-ups and items. Item loadouts are actually equipped outside the game, and players have to use in-battle gold to equip them and to gain their benefits, eliminating the need to memorize a whole catalog of shop items in order to optimize your build. Leveling up and learning skills is also made refreshingly simple. Each level up gives you a choice of 2 augments for your existing abilities, and each augment only has to be purchased once. Sometimes this will just be a statistical increase in a power or weapon's basic function, but many augments also add new properties to a skill or weapon to allow them to be used in a different way, rather than using level ups to beef up a skill's numerical values incrementally. This is actually my favorite part of Battleborn, taking complex MOBA concepts and simplifying them in a way that gives me the tactical depth of a MOBA without all the crunch. It's also for this reason that I can't even say that one is better than the other. I think Battleborn has a greater potential for tactical depth and deep strategy, but Overwatch is simpler, functional, and fun. However, at the end of the day, they are vastly different games and they'll cater to different crowds. If you like fast-paced team fighting with directly contested objectives, you'll like Overwatch. If you like map-based objectives and mid-game advancement combined with frantic gunplay, you'll like Battleborn. And if you're like me, you'll love both. Overwatch and Battleborn both offer player rewards and unlocks for continued play, which is a neat little way to keep players interested for reasons other than pure competition. Overwatch has the simpler of the two. Every time a player gains a player level, they are rewarded loot boxes that contain various character goodies like spray designs, voice lines, skins, and these cool little highlight intros for when you get play of the game. Not only that, but if you end up getting a duplicate item from the drop table, the game will award you credits instead, which you can use then to purchase character items directly. All of these unlocks are purely cosmetic, and those of you who love hunting for rare items will definitely have room to scratch your collector's itch. Battleborn has something similar with its loot chests that contain equipable gear and sometimes rare character skins, but its main progression method so far is through unlocking heroes and raising individual hero ranks. Heroes are unlocked by meeting specific conditions like kill X total players or win X games as a certain faction, or unlocked in order by reaching milestones in your player level. This creates a weird paradigm between new players and experienced players that has both good and bad points. The good points of this is that newer players now have a smaller pool of heroes to worry about. Because you'll be facing against the same pool of 6 or 8 heroes or so, you don't have to learn too many different matchups and counterplay strategies at once. Keeping newer players to a small pool of easy-to-play heroes also means they have more time to focus on learning the fundamentals of the game before tackling more complex heroes with complex mechanics. However, this also means that early on there won't be much in terms of player variety since everyone's playing the same heroes. Even as you advance and start hitting some of the smaller achievements to unlock intermediate level heroes, you'll still only see other players unlocking the exact same set. In fact, there are currently several heroes who are impossible to unlock except by raising your player level, so you'll basically never see them until you advance to the way higher rank. I think heroes should be able to be purchased with credits. Players still have to start in the newbie pools to learn the basics of the game, but since players also earn credits with every game they play, I also think players should be able to work towards one hero that they really wanted to unlock, instead of having to wait to fulfill a certain condition. For instance, I wanted to unlock Ambra, but to do that I have to score 5 wins as a Generate Imperium hero. The starting Generate hero is Wrath, and I suck with Wrath, so I won't be able to unlock Ambra except for waiting for my player level to catch up. Besides, credits aren't actually used for anything much except for purchasing extra loot boxes and expanding your gear inventory, so I don't mind having the extra cash sink. There's actually one more layer of progression in Battleborn, and that comes from hero ranking. Aside from your player ranking, each hero you play also gains points towards their individual ranking. Hitting certain hero ranks or completing unique hero achievements will award you extra skins, taunt animation, bits of lore, and most importantly, hidden augments that will appear in your skill helix. This is important because it means the more you play a character, the more tactical options you'll have available to you. This doesn't necessarily make a character stronger, as you can always opt to not use the third unlocked augment, but this does mean that higher level players will have more playstyle variance the more you advance. Overwatch and Battleborn, when viewed under a strong lens, are vastly different games with different goals, but their strongest similarity, and the one that captivated me to both of them in the first place, is presentation. Both Blizzard and Gearbox have different methods of getting me invested into their worlds. Overwatch has been rolling out animated short films that give us isolated character stories, each with the quality of a feature-length Pixar film. Battleborn includes an 8-chapter campaign mode that can be played online, with unique maps, enemies, and bosses. It feels almost like a miniature Borderlands with self-contained dungeons, especially given Gearbox's signature writing and humor.
Okay, I I've been wondering this for years. Galt, why the hell does the UPR slap giant robot arms on its buildings?
Well, this is an arms depot, and those are loader arms. Pretty cool, right? They fist bump and stuff. It's crazy. Wait. Check it out. Wait. Hold on. Watch, they're gonna do this. Hold. That's my favorite part. Man, I love those things.
Actually, I'm going to go ahead and give Battleborn another nod for its excellent campaign mode. Not only is it an alternate mode of play with unique challenges and a way to familiarize yourself with heroes against AI enemies, but you also earn EXP and loot boxes. You can actually play the game entirely PvE and still have a good time, and it's leagues ahead of Overwatch's current versus AI mode. The most satisfaction I get from both games is from how each game feels. Overwatch really makes you feel like a hero when you drop a well-placed ultimate, when you stand victorious with your allies, and when you relive an influential play set to a heroic victory anthem. Battleborn really makes you feel like a badass, swatting away legions of robot minions, taking down giant bosses, advancing with your squad onto an enemy base to wreck their stuff, and this awesome little intro reel when you start a co-op game. It's like a wrestling intro for your entire team. Whether you want to be a hero or a badass, you can't go wrong either way. And that wraps up today's A.B.I.torial. Let me know what you think about Overwatch and Battleborn in the comments below. Actually, since my last 4 A.B.I.torials have been about video games, let me know what you guys want to see in terms of gaming content, and I'll see if I can start rolling out more videos. Special thanks to all our patrons on Patreon. You guys make this all absolutely worth it. Don't forget to subscribe and to share this video with your friends. I'm A.B.I., and this beta is only up for the weekend,